Hello, BookTube. I'm back with another video regarding online resources for science fiction. This time with five sites, three sort of main ones and two additional to this. Now, I had missed two that I should have mentioned in the previous email. I was emailed and reminded by one of them, and then I was introduced to another one, or at least I think I was introduced to it. The more I look at that site, the more it looks familiar. So I think I've come across it before, but then sort of either lost it or forgotten about it. But anyway, we'll get to that in a moment. The first one that I missed that I should have had on there, a lot of people are probably familiar with this, but in case you're not, it's called the Internet Speculative Fiction Database. Now, I think of it as the Internet Science Fiction Database, but it's more than that. Because it's speculative, its reaches are wider. Now, it says here, I'll read as best as possible the description that's on their own websites. The ISFDB is a community effort to catalog works of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. It links together various types various types of bibliographic data, author bibliographies, publication bibliographies, award listings, magazine content listing, anthology, collection content listings, and forthcoming books. Now, and the key here is this community effort. So it's a work in progress. It has some ups and downs to it. The Clifford Simak bibliographical information, surprisingly, is quite complete as far as I can tell, and I've actually used it and found a few things that I didn't know about. The only things that a lot of this is lacking are reviews, a listing of reviews. That's the difficult one. That usually doesn't happen in these places. But anyway, I'll talk more about that at a later date. But yeah, so there's this, and it's a huge site. It's growing all the time. You can join as a member. It has an interesting feature of, say, for instance, you wanted to read some science fiction stories or novels that are archaeologically orientated, and you could do a search, but this is where it's a work in progress, that the listing for that specific search is not the greatest. It doesn't have many that come up. But if you say alien invasion, you're a little better. So it's a neat feature that probably will grow to get better with the help of their community. Now, the next one is called Galactic Central. Now, this is an older site that I'm not sure if it's still, I think it's still updated. But for internet standards, it's old-fashioned. But there is a ton of information on here. Now, and what I'll do again is read here. It says, the website was originally dedicated to bibliography, specifically those related to science fiction and fantasy authors, and introduced a list of fiction magazines with particular emphasis on which had or had not been indexed as a useful resource or reference. However, this latter list grew and grew with time, particularly after I joined the Fiction Mag's mailing list, and it now occupies about 95% of the website and 99% of the effort devoted to it. At the same time, I got more and more involved in actually indexing the magazines that hadn't been indexed, and now host many of key magazine indexes. And that is Phil Stevenson Payne. Now, he has created, or has in the past, created a number of bibliographies for authors, and they vary in quality. They're basically checklists, but they're a good start. And I have used the Clifford Simak one that he's done, and the A.E. Van Vogt one. And there's a whole list of ones that he has done. Most of them are out of print, but you can still find them used online. But anyway, he has taken indexes, which I have a number of these for magazines, science fiction magazines, or a listing of short stories where they've been anthologized. He has digitized most of these and put them online. I have a 6 or 7 volume set of Pulp magazine indexes, but it's not complete, and it never would have been, because it's the kind of thing is a lot of this printed material. By the time it's even printed, they realize that they missed stuff, and that's what this is. They put into print several volumes, and then more magazines come to hand, so they put out additional updates or series. Now, this is all done on this website. All this material is there. As I say, it's a bit old-fashioned, it's a bit cumbersome, but if you stick with it, you can find almost anything that you're looking for. Now, he also has, he hosts other sites for other indexes or bibliographies for other authors, all sorts of material, and there are links galore to other sites. This is a site that you could spend hours and hours and hours at. Now, the third one that I was told about, as I say, that it might be, it looks a bit familiar, that I'm sure I've seen it before, but either forgot about it or lost the link. And it's the Pulp Magazines Project. Now, the way it describes it here is the Pulp Magazine Project is an open access archive and digital research initiative for the study and preservation of one of the 20th century's most influential print culture forms, the all-fiction pulpwood magazine. The project also provides information and resources on publishing history, multiple search and discovery platforms, and an expanding library of high-quality cover-to-cover digital facsimiles. Now, this is pretty good. This is a slick-looking site. It's very, very nice. It's very modern. Now, they do have, they have a cover gallery for the magazines, and it's magazines, pulp magazines from 1896 to 1946. It's only pulp magazines. The other site, that I showed, has other magazines and newer ones as well. So, and some of these are interlinked as well. Like, you'll be downloading the same material from some of these, from both of these sites on occasion. Now, I haven't looked at this fully. The thing that I want to do say is that occasionally you will find, especially with the Galactic Central, that some of the links are broken. The site that it's linking to has disappeared, or you go to that site and then their links have disappeared. So yeah, and so just an aside, just to keep that in mind while you're using any of these sites. That's the downside, one of the downsides of the internet. And they do have a good, at this, the Pulp Magazine project, a good listing of books that are related to the pulp history, our bibliographies, that type of thing. And yeah, it's a really cool site as far as I can tell. And you can do searches, all sorts of searches through it. It's not complete yet, obviously. It's a work in progress. Now, those are the three sort of main ones, but there's two other that are really, really good. And one is the SFF Audio website. It was created in 2003 by Scott Danielson and Jesse Willis. Booktubers will actually know Scott Danielson. He was a one-time booktuber, and he still comments on BookTube. And he's always up for buddy reads as well. And it says their goal was to tell the world about the cool stuff they were listening to. Since then, we've added a bunch more contributors, reviewers, and even an editor. Now, they do a podcast, but there's also like a listing, like they say, reviews of audio dramatizations, and that includes some old time radio stuff occasionally, and in their podcasts. Now that brings me to the Old Time Radio Researchers Group, which is a fabulous group. Let me get up their page. Now, the OTR Group is a community of enthusiastic fans and listeners and strong supporters of old time radio. The group's goals include restoring, preserving, and sharing the classic shows from what is commonly known as the Golden Age of Radio, 1930 to 1960. The OTR Group comprised a diverse worldwide group of volunteers, has undertaken many ongoing projects, and continues to work hard to preserve our wonderful radio heritage. Now, they have a library on their website of over 60,000 episodes that you can freely download. There is a bandwidth limit, so you have to keep that in mind while you're doing it. They have program log files, like if you want information about a specific series and what episodes there were, with some other information. Again, this is an ongoing project that they're adding to it. And there are PDFs of scripts, old-time radio scripts. There are dozens of those and dozens of those, as well as scans from various places, like even the archive.org and around the internet, of the old-time radio magazines, like the radio magazines that were around in the 20s and 30s and so forth. So all that is available as a jumping-off point from their website. There's articles, there's a listing of books. Now, what they do is, or they originally sent out cassettes. They did it through the mail, where they would get the recordings of old time radio shows. However, sometimes people didn't label stuff correctly, or they didn't record the full episode. They cut off bits. Like I say, they were mislabeled. So and the quality, like there'd be many versions of the same episode, but the quality may not be there for each of them, for each version. So the volunteers would listen to all this, pick out the best quality ones, clean up as much as they can digitally, and they create complete as possible episodes of a series. Now, this is freely available. The database now for this is housed mostly at archive.org. They have links to it from their website, and you can freely download this material, and they're continuing to do it, and you can join if you want to do this. I did when I was in Canada about 20, well, almost, I guess, 30 years ago now, really. But yeah, so it's fun to do that. So you got science fiction stuff on there, as I say. And they publish. I'm not sure if they're still doing it, but they did publish their own newsletter in a PDF format called the OTRR Radio Times, and that's really good with information on there. But anyway, I've gone on longer than I wanted to here. But that's 5 other resources that are fabulous. I'll leave the links down below regarding each site. Now again, it looks like YouTube that won't allow links being put into the comments. So if you do have any comments or a site you'd like me to look at, because I know there's lots out there, but these are ones that I find, and I think the project ones are ones that I'm going to that I have used routinely. So it's just my personal best. Thank you, Book 2.